Okay, in this video we're going to cut out the hole for the eyes. So I'm going to just hide this bottom piece, go back into low polygon mode, make sure that I put on my wireframe on shaded to help me out. And I'm going to cut the eye right across here, so I'm going to go to my mesh tools, insert edge loop. I'm going to cut across this direction here, go to our vertices. I'm just going to kind of shape this so it's a little bit flatter. Okay, I'm going to select this edge, edit mesh, delete edge vertex, or you can do Control Delete, which is the shortcut. Select this face. We're going to do our extrude, or Control E. I'm going to scale it in to the center. So now we create this loop around, and that can help us to insert more edge loops to be able to hold the shape of the eye. Okay, so now in order to actually make a little bit better shape, I'm going to insert a loop or insert an edge, and I'm going to do this by just cutting the loop around. So let's just do insert edge loop. This will go all the way around that loop. Grab this. You can select this face, the faces that are in here, and just delete them. So now you have the hole. So now what you need to do is you need to make the back hole. So you select this, Control E. We're going to scale it in. I'm going to hit 4 on my keyboard, and what we're going to do is just select the faces here. We just kind of want to move this just a little bit. So I'm going to grab these vertices. So I'm just kind of looking at that eye socket area there. And it doesn't have to line up perfectly. We're going to reform and reshape this in Mudbox, but I want to make sure that when I do connect the front of the eye socket to the back, it's going to be a little bit easier to see. Okay, so now I need to cut the loops around this side to match up with the other side. So there's different ways I can do that. I can do the same thing and just go into insert edge loop and just cut it around, although I want to be kind of careful about where that loop cuts. In this case it's okay, because again I don't want to accidentally cut in a loop here. This one cut in this way, and this just continued all the way around to the bottom, which is fine. So now I can shape by scaling and moving this section of the eye. Okay, and then insert another edge loop. So if I go like this, it goes around, but I can see it added a loop here. So these wouldn't be even. So instead of inserting that loop around, what I'll do is I'll use my multi-cut tool. The multi-cut tool will allow me to position where I want these cuts to take place. So if I just go click and drag to snap it here, and then I just click down like this, and even you can just click right across and it'll connect all those edges for you. And from here I'll just connect it right. I can connect it to a triangle here. And then again, we can, if we want to keep that a quad, we can quickly convert that by going right to from the middle to the center, because the center is going to be connected. So remember, we're working on one side. So now that I cut that triangle, it is actually a quad. And I placed it towards the bottom of my geometry of my mesh, so it's really not going to create an issue, and this is really not an area where I'm going to do too much sculpting. In fact, looking at it now, maybe even a better area for this. So let's just take our multi-cut tool, and we can just go right across like this here, and I'll place it right here. I'm going to select this edge. Actually, I'll select this edge here, do your delete edge vertex, I'm going to select these two vertices, and then you can just do a merge to center, and now I'm back to the two quads here, and then they're a little bit more even, and then I have a small triangle right here. Again, I can go right across with the multi-cut tool like that, and that might help to hold this edge later on a little bit better if I needed it. And again, you want to be careful, you don't want to ruin any of the other kind of edge loops you have while you're inserting and cutting. So now that I have this one, I can just come up here to the vertices, shape it, select the faces that are here, make sure you're not selecting any faces on the other side, and hit delete. Okay. Select some of these edges. I'm just going to lift it up. Again, be careful. You don't want to get too tight in certain areas. If you double click, you can move the entire piece. You can rotate it a little bit. Move this up just a small bit here. Select this, and I'm going to look and see kind of how far away it is from the front. Right? So if it's a bit far away, something I might want to do, because that distance is going to be the thickness, so something I might want to do is just grab these inner faces. So I'm just holding shift and selecting these faces in here. Again, make sure you don't get any faces in the front, and we might want to bring this in just a little bit. So the thickness is a little bit less. That gives us a little bit more room back there, or a little bit more kind of flexibility to move this kind of shape in. Okay, now select this edge here and here, and just kind of move those in as well. Okay. All right, so now that I have that cut out, be very careful, so I pushed it in too much right there. So I'm just going to bring that edge back in, just to make sure that, again, we have room here. So same thing here, we'll bring this edge back in. Okay, now we'll take this and we'll append across to connect. So we go up to Mesh Tools, Append Polygon, and we just click on one edge, then the opposite edge that we want it to connect to. You can hit Y on your keyboard, the letter Y. That will make that connect, and then allow you to continue with the append tool. So Y and enter. So you can click one side, then hit Y. One side, the other, hit Y. So we're just going to go all the way around. And this will be our last one. And now that we've done that, we'll go up to Mesh Display, Hard Edge, like that. Select our vertices and just shape it out a little bit better. But this gives us a nice edge loop that we can hold the shape of the eye, or at least hold the socket area of the eye. I'm going to just make this inner area a little bit bigger. So we go around. Like this, because we will be placing the eyeball back here. So we can even just put a sphere back there for the time being, although again, like I had mentioned before, we are going to do shaping in Mudbox, so when we get to Mudbox we can throw the eye in there and kind of reshape that out. If we select and hit 3 on our keyboard, we can see that we do have an eye socket in there. We can hold the loop. Be careful of intersecting pieces. So we can hold the loop around by inserting edge loop. Click around this way and click around this way. So now when I hit 3 on my keyboard, those edges will be held a bit better around that area like so. Okay, so now what we need to do is we're going to delete this half away. So let's select faces, go into our top view, click and drag all the way around to select this half of the face or the head. Hit delete on the keyboard to get rid of it. So now we can see what's going on internally here. So we might want to, while we have this, do something like raise the inner part of the mouth a little bit more. Just be careful that you're not moving your center line off of the x-axis, because we want to make sure that they line up so that we can connect the two halves together. Just take a look, make sure nothing's intersecting. Okay, now we're going to take this. Our pivot point should be in the center, which it is. So we're going to select all the vertices down the center, hit R, and just scale in to make sure they're right on the center line. We're going to do Control D to duplicate and set our scale in X to -1. That will flip that over. Now we have the two halves here. We'll select both of them, go up to Mesh, Combine. Now it's combined, but the vertices are not connected. They're right on top of one another. So you can see here in my view that this line is a bit thicker, and that's because if you go to Display, Polygon Display, you can turn border edges on. So right now I just turned it off. If I go to Display, Poly Display, border edges, turn it back on, I can see that that's where there are vertices that are not connected. That's where vertices that are ended. So it's a good way to kind of check to make sure that everything is kind of sealed up. So in order to seal this now, again, I'll go to the top view, select vertices. I'm going to go right down the center here. So make sure that you're only getting vertices in the center, nothing out onto the sides, like so. And then we're going to go to our Edit Mesh, and we're going to do Merge. Not Merge to Center, we'll do Merge. And you can go to the option box, make sure the threshold is really low. Hit Apply, and you can see that thicker line went away, indicating that these are now connected. So with this selected, I hit 3. I can see that's what I have so far. Close that, select our object, and make sure we delete away all this history here. So you can go Edit, Delete by Type History, or Alt-Shift-D, or you can even make a little shortcut for it. And now our history is all done. So next, we'll get this into Mudbox.